When I start out knowing what I don't like about a lens, and it still interests me, I'll probably end up liking it. When the competition is a lens of the quality, performance and spec of the Olympus 40-150 Pro Zoom, a lens that pretty much defines its niche, it is easy to know what you don't like about a competitor. In the case of the Panasonic 50-200 f2.8-4, here goes. I don't like that it doesn't have a fixed f2.8 throughout the range. I don't like that it trombones. I don't like that it lacks a tripod collar. So far, so negative. But from Panasonic's latest Leica Elmerit designated lenses, the 12-60 and the 9-18 f2 to f4 zooms, I knew that the 50-200 would be more than just an Olympus Pro wannabe. It would have qualities of its own. Let's have a look and see what they are. The 50-200 is a handsome beast, like its 8-18 and 12-60mm siblings. With its dense, black, glossy, tactile finish, super smooth control rings and reassuring weight, you know this will be an expensive optic just by picking it up. Which is just as well, since if you glimpse the price tag before seeing the lens, you might have trouble seeing it through your water-filled eyes. The Panasonic is minimalist in design, contrasting with Olympus's 40-150, a much more workmanlike looking tool altogether. It has a wide zoom ring with a narrower focus ring right in front of it, both well sized for their purposes, and there are autofocus and stabilization switches. Panasonic supply a long tube of a lens hood, which I would have sworn would cause vignetting at 50mm, but it doesn't. As I write this, I'm idly picking up my G9 with the lens mounted, and at 200mm I am getting a good proportion of sharp shots at half of a second. A circus trick maybe, but impressive. The lens has extremely effective stabilization built in, enough to make the sensor stabilization unnecessary. With my shaky hands, I can handhold at 200mm at 125th with just the lens stabilization. With body stabilization added, I could get that down to a pretty reliable 1/10th. But in practice I'd start to raise the ISO at a 60th. Used on a Panasonic camera with body stabilization, you automatically get dual stabilization, and there is no way to use just body or lens. On an Olympus body, you can elect to use either body or lens, but not combine them. In reality, on any Panasonic or Olympus body, old or new, stabilized or not, you will have all the stabilization you need. Although I prefer lenses that don't trombone, this one won't slip when it is hanging at your side. Focusing is as fast as you would expect, essentially instantaneous on single AF, and, bolstered by the depth from defocus system, well able to keep moving subjects sharp. Sequences of cyclists moving at fairly high speed are 95% or better sharp. Sports like rugby and soccer are no challenge either. I was actually reviewing some cycle sequences when this young woman suddenly appeared, cycling and checking her phone. The camera was still on continuous autofocus when I raised it straight from my lap to my eye, snapped the zoom back to 50mm and hit the shutter. I snatched just one frame as she passed me. I'm an ex-press photographer, and had I been looking for an unusual mobile phone shot for my newspaper, would have been happy just to get a usable image. It's a credit to the wieldiness of the lens and the capabilities of the camera that it is as sharp and well exposed as if I'd set it up. On thinking about that, what I'm saying is that a £3,000 sterling body and lens combo makes a great point and shoot. Scrub that thought. The lens has all the focus speed and ease of use you'd expect from the very best Micro Four Thirds equipment. The sharpness of the 50-200 is superb. I wouldn't hesitate to use it wide open at any zoom setting for any task. It is unusual in that it starts out sharp, maintains or even improves that sharpness as you extend it. The very best sharpness, f5.6 right through the range, gives excellent results, edge to edge, and pretty much indistinguishable from a prime. It is getting impossible to differentiate the performance of high-end lenses in Micro Four Thirds these days. The performance of this lens for practical purposes is the same as Olympus's 40-150 Pro. That is, beyond reproach. What differences there are can only really be highlighted by photographing charts under controlled test conditions. In other words, by using them in conditions that they'd never see out in the field. I had read that the 50-200mm had less good edge sharpness at 50mm f2.8 than the Olympus. I perceived no meaningful difference. Purple fringing is all but absent, as it should be in a lens with software correction. Flare is also absent. That long lens hood will help, of course, but even against the light without the hood, flare isn't really a problem. Distortion is absent too, and straight lines stay that way, not always true with zooms. This shot of the hooded crow is at 50mm and f2.8. As I said, impressive by prime standards, let alone zoom. The quality of the out of focus areas is smooth and pleasing. f2.8 is never going to give the shallow depth of field that an f1.8 prime will, but at 50mm and wide open it's perfectly acceptable. All in all, the performance of this lens is exemplary. So where does it stand? If you're in the market for a top-flight f2.8 medium to long zoom, the choice is between this lens, the Olympus 40-150 Pro, or the Panasonic 35-100. It isn't sensible to choose on the basis of sharpness, since all of these lenses have it in abundance. If you want something truly compact in the spirit of Micro Four Thirds, the 35-100 Panasonic is the way to go. The choice between the Olympus and the Panasonic is more complicated. The Panasonic trades a constant aperture against a wider zoom range. It is only f2.8 at 50mm really. It closes down quickly and is at f3.6 at 100mm, f3.9 at 150mm, a stop down on the Olympus, and f4 at 200mm. It lacks the features of the Olympus, such as the on-lens function button and focusing ring clutch. I don't miss either of these myself, but there will be many who do, and their lack should be borne in mind when choosing. I'd miss Olympus's built-in tripod mount more if it had an Arca Swiss base, but it doesn't. Even so, I'm slightly uneasy about a lens of the Panasonic's weight being supported by the camera's base plate. I'll have to trust Panasonic with that. The returns for warranty work would be painful for them otherwise. I really do miss the Olympus's retracting lens hood. It's a real asset, and a similar arrangement on the Panasonic would have been much more convenient than the conventional bayonet. A cosmetic matter, but nonetheless I would like to have a little collar to go around the lens hood bayonet mount, just to tidy it up when not using the hood. I know you should always use it, but it does bulk the lens out rather. I note how I'm reduced to whining about trivialities with these lenses. It's all you are left with when all the major attributes are so right. One last whinge though. Olympus's 1.4 times converter won't fit the 50-200. It's a shame because Panasonic seem to have given theirs a silly price tag. I'm going to confess here that I once chose one car over another because it had a better sound system. I think I may be doing the same thing again because this lens will supplant the Olympus in my camera bag. And it's for one reason only. It fits face down in my camera bag, which frees up space for my Mikey fisheye and Olympus 45mm f1.8. Thanks for watching.